What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball. You know, every once in a while I like to throw you guys a bone. I don't always like doing these like reaction videos when there hasn't been like that much basketball to actually consume yet, but I figure why not? Let's overreact to all the rookies so far. In this video, we're just gonna go over all the guys that I think are worth talking about. There's not always a ton, especially in this draft class in the preseason, but you know, there's something to talk about for quite a few of them, so let's get into it. A quick reminder as well to go join the Discord. We're on there every single day. The link is in the description to come on and join. We've got a lot of new people coming on every day, and we're talking hoops. Everything breaking news wise, we're all covering it, but otherwise make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment on my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. All right, now let's get into it. I figured the best way to go about this was literally just to look at the draft and then kind of go line by line and be like, hey, who was worth talking about? And you know what, let's talk about Bronny James first. We're going from bottom up, and so yeah, Bronny hasn't been very good so far. Defensively, he's actually been pretty solid, but we kind of presume that going in. I'll tell everybody, right? There's two things I want you guys to keep in mind for this video, and this is a good reminder. Guys can get better at any time, right? So if I say something negative about somebody, it's not like I'm giving up on them. I don't give up on any 19 to like 25-year-old like ever. It just doesn't happen, I promise you. And I think it's important to remember as well, I don't like dislike any of these guys. I'm rooting for all of them to win, right? So let's not have any overreactions, even though this is an overreaction video. This doesn't mean anything for the long term. But Bronny James, offense has been rough. It's been rough. He looks confused out there. He doesn't look like he's ready to play at an NBA level offensively, and you know what? That's totally fine. Defensively, like I said, and he looks just fine. Like I really don't have like a problem with him at all for like how old he is and everything. I think he still projects to be a decent like backup point guard in the NBA at some point. Like I could just picture him like a more athletic Tyus Jones. That's what I imagine him becoming. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, and like, yes, would he have gotten drafted like if this wasn't his name and it wasn't his dad? No, of course not. But like, there's plenty of guys that don't get noticed and stuff that have some NBA talent and stuff. So let's not act like he don't belong here. He's here. He's going to get a chance to develop. Give him some time. Everybody just relax. All right, who's the next person we want to talk about on this list? I feel like the next guy we should talk about is Oso Ighodaro. I think that's how you say it. I'm pretty sure you can say it much more eloquently than I did. Ighodaro, is that how you say it? But he's been playing a lot for the Suns in preseason. Like, yes, Nurkic hasn't really been playing, so that's a big reason for it. But I've actually been pleasantly surprised with like how he's been as like an NBA center. His passing has been really good. He's seen passing lanes really well. They're putting him kind of like the high post hub kind of guy, and he's making some plays. As far as like the shooting and scoring, it's not anything that's not really a dunk or a layup. And even then, like, he's rushed a couple of them. He's a rookie. Like, those things are going to happen even when you're like 6'9". It just is what it is. But he's playing pretty smart, and he's playing really good in like drop coverages and stuff like that. So is he going to get a ton of burn? No, they're going to go to Plumlee and they'll go to Nurkic first. But like, hey, like, it's kind of cool to know that like, yeah, if you need someone to come in and stuff, he's going to be able to make some good passes, be strong. He's a little bit older. So I like that out of him. Jalen Wells, we should talk about him because he had like a 20-point performance in preseason. Just because someone had good stats doesn't mean it looks good. Watching Jalen Wells play was kind of hard, in all honesty, for me. He just looked like he didn't know where to be, and he's young, so that's totally understandable, but I don't anticipate him being someone that can contribute this early on. The jump shot looks a little bit funky to me. Like, he's one of those guys that jumps and spreads his legs, and you shouldn't like do that. You should actually jump together. That's how you keep your whole like shot form going up. And so that's what I look for in that. And the handle seems pretty loose right now. Again, doesn't quite know where to be on the court just yet, but you know, had a good performance nonetheless. Tyler Kolek has looked pretty solid to me. I liked him as just kind of like a TJ McConnell type of player. Just seems like he's got a good control in the basketball, can run the offense. Like, he's cutting really hard. He's playing physical. He's picking up full court. Feels like he could be a good reserve guard for them right away. And I feel like a lot of us tend to agree with that. But this is where it starts to get fun. Ryan Dunn. If you guys remember, we talked about him a lot like in the pre-draft process. I was like, hey, this is one of the better defensive like prospects I've really ever seen come out of here in terms of like a wing defender, his instincts and everything. He's got long arms that are really active, and he keeps them in passing lanes. He keeps them in like in people's dribbling and operating areas, and he gets a lot of tips and steals, and he has been that for the Phoenix Suns. But here's the thing, right? We said offensively it's going to take some time. Well, if we're doing an overreaction, his offense looks really dang good right now. Most of the Suns' big three and starters didn't play in their last game, and he like was leading them in scoring for most of it. He shot like, I think he went like 5 for 8 from 3 or something like that. He's been hitting his 3 throughout the whole preseason. It's not much creation. It's just handoffs and catch and shoots, but that's all you need to do on this team. If he can be like the lengthy like 3-and-D guy for them right away, oh, perfect. Like this is an elite A+ draft pick then. But like we've seen him already guard guys like Cade Cunningham and stuff, and he's pestering them and getting a ton of steals. I can't remember who they were playing last night. When am I filming this, by the way? I'm filming this on the 14th. I'll let you guys see it tomorrow, this video tomorrow. Why not? I've got to record a couple tonight because I have to travel a bit this week for my business. But no, Ryan Dunn's been awesome. His like the amount of tips and steals he's getting, just like even like good ball handlers, like putting the ball on the floor, coming towards, he's like, nope, give me that, I'll take that very quickly, and then we're going the other way. So love Ryan Dunn. Terrence Shannon, he's not putting up the numbers that I'd like. He's not getting the time necessarily that I'd like. I see the talent very, very clearly, but here's the thing. When he's on the court, he's getting to the free throw line like every single time. He's so crafty and he's so good at getting to the rim. His handle's nice. He's not like just like forcing shots either. He's finding open teammates, being there on the right places on the court. Still really, really high on Terrence Shannon. I think he's going to get there at some point. Dylan Jones has had some good performances in preseason when everyone else is kind of sitting. But again, those are only when he can just have the ball the entire time, and that's a little bit concerning to me. I just don't know how he contributes like with the rest of the guys, and I can't imagine him being a part of like the regular rotation this early on. But I don't know. That's my thoughts on Dylan Jones. Keyshawn George has had like a couple interesting moments. He was a primary ball handler a lot of the times at Miami last year, and I made the assessment of him that I'm like, he's not like NBA handle ready, but at least he's like capable, so that he can kind of like go off the dribble and stuff like that, because he should be a decent outside shooter for the Wizards right away. Now, it should be known the Wizards look atrocious in preseason. It is hard to watch that team play right now. They don't have like a point guard that they can throw on the court right now. It's just Jordan Poole and Kuzma, again, just chucking shots early. Alex Sarr's just sitting in the corner. We'll talk about Alex Sarr, but like they've mismanaged him so far already. It's just I don't envy you Wizards fans. It has looked rough for the preseason. I don't want to overreact to things, but I'm like, oh my gosh, like it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like it's going to be good. But Keyshawn George has had some interesting moments where he's kind of caught and then gone off the dribble for some interesting shots. He's hit a couple threes here and there. Again, doesn't look NBA ready by any means. Probably wouldn't be a first round pick in a normal draft, but I'm interested in the long-term vision of him. Like, can we keep improving on the jumper and the handle and everything? Because you got good length and it seems like you got some solid instincts on you. So I guess we'll see what Keyshawn George. AJ Johnson, just going to take a little bit for him to get there. Dude attacks the rim like a madman. It's not the smartest like attacks to the rim ever, but like dude is athletic and he's really young, y'all. I'm not saying he can't become something, because I think he could. I see the framework and everything. I just think it's going to take some time, kind of like a Jaden Hardy type. Like give him a couple years and then he could be like a spark plug. Rip Deron Holmes, which he was able to play more. Yves Missy hasn't been able to contribute a ton yet. He's had a couple nice moves around the rim or whatever. The Pelicans also haven't had many opportunities for him to be a run, jump, and dunk guy, and that's what I talked about in the preseason preview videos. I'm like, my only concern with the Pelicans is they have a lot of guys that are operating in the same operating areas, and that's within the arc, and it doesn't spell well for guys like Missy, and apparently they're going with Herb Jones at center anyway, so that tells you they're really not feeling it yet. But I don't know. I think long-term you could have a Clint Capella type out of Missy. Jalen Tyson has had some interesting games. He's been low in their rotation early in the preseason. He's been like 9th, 10th, 11th man usually. He doesn't have like very many dribble moves that he can necessarily go to early. And by the way, like I know I'm sounding negative in this video right now. They're rookies, and I'm also a coach. You guys need to know, like, it's my job to point out bad things as well. Bad things always stick out more than good things. I promise you I'll say some good things as well about these guys, but like we're here to improve. We're not here just to like say, oh, this guy's perfect. Like you're always getting better. So I like that Jalen Tyson's really good at grabbing rebounds at his position. Like he always knows where to be, and he's able to get a lot of those offensive rebounds. It's a really cool skill. Again, kind of like Dylan Jones, seems kind of useless offensively without the basketball. The catch and shoot things weren't horrible so far, so maybe that becomes something, but I don't see him sliding in the rotation too early. Dalton Connect, obviously he was a guy that a lot of people talked about coming into this season. The three-point shot hasn't been falling so far. I'm not tripping about that. I mean, just give it a little bit of time. He'll be just fine. He's had some nice cuts and he's shown off the athleticism pretty well, but he's also hasn't been in with like the greatest group of players either, so I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I have to imagine he'll be a better rotation player when he's playing with guys like LeBron and AD and stuff like that, but just give him a moment and he'll be fine. Jared McCain, again, I don't want him dribbling the basketball a ton right now. I don't like it, but I will say, I was watching who were they playing? They were playing the Celtics, I believe, and that was when the Sixers just threw out like a nonsense lineup, like it was basically their G League team that they threw up against like the Boston Celtics lineup, and so I was like, ooh, let's see how this goes. And McCain, McCain was actually pretty solid overall, being their primary ball handler. He reminds me a lot of Jalen Brunson. You know, shorter, stockier guard, pretty strong. Like that's gonna have to be his thing, right? Because he's not quick off his first step, and his handle is like not elite enough. But what he does have is he has really good footwork. So I want to give him credit for that, because I was kind of the one saying I don't want him touching the ball at all this year. But if we're gonna develop him and stuff, like I could totally see him being that kind of guy that's just kind of like being strong, like because he's gonna get bigger and stronger, right? He's kind of muscling guys, hitting them with the footwork and everything, because like Brunson's not doing anything all that complicated with the basketball, it's with his feet. And so I could see McCain turning into a type of guy like that, because he was hitting some of his fadeaways. He gets some pretty good elevation on his jump shot, so maybe there's something there. We definitely want him catch and shooting threes. Again, I'm trying to limit how much he's actually dribbling this year. He cannot be like an NBA lead guard right now. The skill just isn't there, and we see it in like his shot numbers as well. Like his shot off the dribble numbers are like in the toilet, but like his catch and shoot numbers are really good. Dude can shoot it. Like he spots up, he finds his lanes, typical Duke guy like they usually do, and he can catch them and let them fly, and they're going in. So awesome. If he can do that right away, that's awesome. Moving on to Kel'el Ware. How do I feel about Kel'el Ware? I love him like long term. I think there's something really interesting long term, and I think the Miami Heat are probably in agreement that they're like, yeah, it's not right now, but that was the same thing with him in college. Like it took him a little while to get going. I see a really good athlete, someone that is hitting a couple threes. The form I don't like. He's got one of those things where the ball's kind of rolling off the side a little bit right now, and you're getting some weird rotation on it. A couple of them have fallen, but is what it is. He's still jumping at a couple shots that he shouldn't defensively, but there's also times where he really is locking in, and he's making some athletic plays, and he's making some tough like hook shots and stuff like that. So do I see him as still like a potential starting center in the NBA? Yes, I do. I think the talent is very apparent. I just think he takes a minute to learn the game, and there's plenty of guys that do, and it's a hard thing to learn. So no ifs, ands, or buts about that, man. It's just hard. So it took him a year in college to kind of figure it out. Give him a year or two in the NBA, and I think he might have something really interesting here. I've heard some people talk about him and Bam play together. I don't know how I just don't see Bam moving away from center, but that's just me. I don't know. Bub Carrington, excuse me. The mid-range shots haven't been falling quite as much. He's taken some bad jumpers here or there, had a couple turnovers. Again, he's trying to play starting point guard on a really bad team right now that just doesn't know what it's doing offensively. So I feel for him. The turnovers have been kind of bleh. Hasn't quite put up the numbers that he did in the summer league, but that's okay. Like I see some cool things out of him still. He's still really shifty. He's good at getting to his spots. The shots just aren't falling right now. So hopefully we can put a better system around Bub Carrington. Moving on to Buzelis here. Matas Buzelis. I'm a Bulls fan, so this is an interesting one for me. They've put him in some weird situations where he has to kind of be the main rim protector because they don't have one necessarily otherwise on the team. There was a couple possessions where like he got switched on to Zack Edey and was actually blocking his shots and stuff, but we'll talk about why that's happening for Zack Edey. It's not the biggest deal. It's a pretty easy fix, honestly. But the shooting and the scoring hasn't been too efficient yet. I don't necessarily love the handle, but he's sure trying to get to his spots. I love the energy he's playing with. He really like wants to be a guy that's getting into the paint. He has no clue what he's doing once he gets there right now, but that's totally fine. And again, I know I sound like I'm being negative right now. This is a rougher draft class. It just kind of is. I'm not saying none of these guys will contribute. I mean, Buzelis is going to be on the court for the Bulls this year. There's no question about that. The help defense skills look pretty good. The on-ball defense is a little shaky right now. And again, a little concerned about the jump shot and his ability to actually like create at an NBA level. But like he looks like a good athlete. He's hustling out there. Seems like he's enjoying playing for the Bulls. So let's hope, man. Let's hope. Cody Williams, don't sweat it right now. I know the percentages aren't great right now. We said he would be a project, and he's going to be a project, and Utah knows he's a project, right? There's a lot of really interesting skills. There's times where you see him in a fast break, and he gets to like a nice Euro step, and he's finishing over people with his long arms, and there's other times he's just literally doing nothing out there, and he looks a little bit like a deer in like headlights. And, you know, that's okay, right? Long term, hoping for a 3-and-D guy that can handle the ball and run in a pick and roll a little bit, so just be on the lookout for that. Going to take some time. Zack Edey. This is the one, and I might post a video Wednesday on Zack Edey, so just be on the lookout for that. Zack Edey, I was worried about him defensively coming into the NBA. Here's what you guys need to realize. He's like 7'3" or 7'4" or something stupid big like that, and like 305 pounds. There's a couple things are going to happen. Every once in a while, yeah, he's going to just grab some rebounds because he's bigger. He's going to block some shots because he's bigger, right? Like, he's still bigger than everyone else in the NBA. There's no question about that, so that's going to help him. I was worried about him, and I still am, about what happens when teams start like screening him and stuff like that, and he's got to work around them as he's trying to follow his man around. There was a couple times where the Grizzlies got him in situations where he switched on to perimeter guys, and he didn't look as bad as I thought. I thought he was going to look horrible, and it wasn't like bad, if you know what I mean. Like, he somewhat kept guys in front of him. As soon as guys hit like a dead dribble, he kind of goes flying a little bit, but like, he's that big. That's going to happen to every big in the NBA, unless you're like Bam or Wemby or something like that, right? So it wasn't as bad as I thought. He's got a problem right now offensively where he keeps getting blocked because, and this is, it kind of bothers me that he hasn't learned this yet, but it's fine. It's an easy thing to teach. He keeps bringing the ball low. When you're a big, like, and for all my bigs watching out there, if you catch the ball, keep it here at your chest, don't bring it anywhere lower. You have your elbows out, so you catch it. Don't bring the ball down before you go up. That's when it gets swiped and it gets blocked and things like that. Just like go up and finish, and he's doing that a lot right now. His back downs have been pretty rough to watch, although he did have one tonight that I just saw a clip for where he just, who was it? It was Isaiah Jackson for the Pacers. He just like backed him down and then turned around and dunked it. Like, yeah, he weighs so much more than him. That's going to happen, right? And awesome. That's kind of the trick pony thing that I anticipated he could be this year. That's great. But like, he's trying to back down some other guys, and he's literally just like falling into the traps of being led like into the high paint areas. And maybe you guys don't quite understand that, but a lot of times bigs will try to lure them to those spots on the court so that they have to take these kind of longer hook shots, and then they have to pass out to other people. It's not as good of a skip pass then. It's a thing. But I think he can contribute for them this year. He's not starting as of tonight anymore. It looks like they moved him out in favor of Aldama and Brandon Clark, which I would personally probably support that for this year, but I do think long-term we could do something with him. I don't know if he's going to be like truly dominant or anything like that, but some interesting things. Dillingham has had rookie point guard moments. He's looked really, really good at points. He's gotten his shot blocked a lot. Defensively, he's had problems as well. Kind of like what I talked about. Like at the end, you guys probably remember this from my draft talk. I'm like, at the end of the day, size wins. It just does. And when you're as small as he is, you just get muscled sometimes. And that is happening pretty often right now. But honestly, like, that's fine. He doesn't, like, they didn't draft him to do that. And eventually he'll learn like little tips and tricks and stuff, because you can't fix size too much at the end of the day. But what they needed him to be was a little spark plug, and he's trying to do that to his very best effort. There's times where he's turning it over and he's taking bad shots. I've seen a couple of these just run up the court and he's had a foot on the line and he's chucking up a shot when he just didn't need to. It's not the right situation, but he's trying to get a bucket, and I feel that, and I love that that's his attitude right now. But it's just going to take some time. I'm not worried about it at all. He needs to be a spark plug for this team offensively, and that's what he's trying to do. So I support that in its entirety, and everyone else on this team is good defensively, so they got his back, man. Not everyone's going to be good at defense on the court. I know I wasn't a good individual defender, but I learned how to be a good team defender, because like, for reference, I was like 6'5", 220, but I was playing point guard just because I'm a passer. That's what I do. I'm a really good passer in my opinion. And so I'd have little guys on me all the time that I couldn't keep up with. I didn't have the same lateral quickness as them, but I learned to use my body and stuff, and I learned to use my teammates and stuff like that. So just going to take some time, but I like Rob. I'm really happy with where he ended up. Haven't seen much of Clingan. He looks a little bit goofier, though, than he did at UConn, and part of that is just because, like, there's no spacing in Portland, and, man, their preseason's been rough to watch as well. I can't watch any more Scoot Henderson, DeAndre Ayton pick and rolls. It is disastrous to watch. I can't watch it. Like, Scoot has nowhere to go. But, like, Clingan, he's at least, like, keeping the ball high and everything. He's finishing some of them and stuff, and defense has been fine. I would say he looks a little bit clumsy so far, though, which is a little bit below my expectations of where he was at, but you know, is what it is. It's the Portland Trailblazers. Tidjane Salaun, I have been pleasantly surprised with how good he's been so far. So if you guys don't remember, I said Salaun had the highest ceiling of anybody in this draft. That's what I believe. First thing, he's 6'9". Why does he look like 6'11" out there? Like, yes, I know he's broad, and so like that helps. By the way, he could grow into a physically like dominant body. Like, just by me looking at him and knowing how guys kind of like develop and stuff, like he could be a force physically. And again, he just looks bigger than 6'9" to me, but that's, I don't know why my brain's kind of playing tricks on me with that. The shot has been there. Like that was kind of a question going in, is like, okay, yeah, you've got this really athletic kind of power forward that has shown that he can shoot in spurts, and he can like put the ball on the ground a little bit, and he's really athletic. And the shots falling right now, like deep shots are falling, and it's not just like catch and shoot. It's mostly been catch and shoot, but there's been times too where he's caught and he's like jabbed. He's like, I got nowhere to go. Jab again, pull, bang. And I'm like, ooh, I'm like, Tidjane, I'm like, I did not know this was in your game so early. And he's taking clutch shots. But what gets me excited is when he puts the ball on the ground. Is it great right now? And does he know completely where he's going? No. But the level of coordination that he has already, y'all don't understand. Like, I'm salivating over stuff like that. I think this guy could be so incredibly good. Like, his level of coordination and athleticism, like putting the ball on the ground and like stopping and going and stuff like that with his size and strength, that's some Giannis type stuff, y'all. That's some Giannis type stuff. I'm not saying he's going to be Giannis, but know what it is. Ron Holland, I don't know how much he's going to play in their rotation this year. I want to give Ron Holland credit. He is playing harder than any rookie out there right now. He is everywhere. Like, he is on the ground. He is like diving for everything. Like, he's being active. He's picking people up. Love that out of him. He does not look like he knows what he's doing now. And that was my critique of Ron Holland. And like, the shooting's not there. There's so many times where like as soon as he crosses half court, I'm like, oh, he's going right here to do this, and everyone else in the court knows it too, and he just ends up getting blocked. Like, and it's kind of rough to watch in that sense. But like, he's quick and he's got a good handle and he's athletic and things like that. He's getting out and running in transition, and that's awesome. I think it's going to be hard for him to find time on the court this season because he just has so much to learn about basketball. He's finding himself out of position defensively pretty often. And that was my thing, right? It's just going to take time. So that's totally fine, right? Like, they've got other dudes to play those spots this year. I'm not tripping about it long term, but I don't know how you could possibly put him and Sarr on the team on the court together with the lack of spacing that you would have. It'd be really athletic and stuff, and you'd have a lot of energy defensively, but I don't know. I don't think it can work this year as of how it is right now. Stephon Castle, he's getting a few more minutes because of Buzelis' injury and everything, and he's been exactly what I expected him to be. He is good at pretty much everything already, and why wasn't he the number one pick? Because he's a pretty bad shooter, and the shot just isn't really falling right now. There's been a lot of clankers out there that just haven't looked very good at all. He doesn't look completely confident in his shot either. And that's okay. He can do a lot of other things right now, and I'm really impressed with those. The handle has been very good. He's been seeing the floor very good as well. He attacks the rim ferociously, even more than I thought he was going to. The spacing of the NBA is going to favor him well this year because of that. I don't know how many like actual ball handling opportunities he's going to get. It seems like they're giving him more in the preseason, and the Spurs have a tendency to do that to kind of let him get their feet wet. But there's been times where like he gets within like a couple feet of the basket and he's like, okay, I'm taking off, I'm going up, like, you better come up with me. And I love that out of guys. I love the fearlessness of it. And so you're seeing these things where it's like, okay, he's got a little bit of passing. The defense has looked very good. Like, he's keeping guys in front of him, right? He's playing good team defense. His rotations already look crisp. That's awesome. He can see the floor pretty well, right? He's moving, he's active, he's running. Perfect. That all sounds great to me. You can't hit the three right now? That's okay. We can work on that. I'm signing up for that. And so I've been happy with Stephon Castle so far. It's exactly what you want. Sheppard. The three-point shot's not falling completely right now, and that's okay. The handle hasn't looked too crisp in preseason either. Those of you know, I'm not like huge on Sheppard long term. But here's the thing, like, the shot looks really good. Like, there was never a question about that. Like, he's going to be a good catch and shoot guy. He kind of falls into the same thing that, who are we talking about? Where did he go? Jared McCain, where it's like, I just want him doing like catch and shoot stuff this year. I know like long term, we kind of want him to turn into a point guard, and hopefully that happens, but it's not quite there yet. And so I feel like there's other guys in the team that I'd rather have the ball, like Amon and Fred. So I don't know. I feel like he can still be like a nice guy towards like the end of the rotation that's spacing the floor and stuff. Defensively, he's making some good instinct plays. Those are the things we knew coming in. Getting a lot of like little tips from behind and stuff like that, and just coming up and being in the right place, being a good athlete and stuff like that. But again, you're seeing bigger guards dominate him, and that's the problem, right? At the end of the day, your weight and size matters, and I'm trying to teach you guys this for a reason. It's just going to limit you for forever, and that's unfortunately how it is. You have to learn how to play smarter, and he seems like he's going to try to be a smart defender and everything, but he doesn't always have the smartest teammates around him to kind of help with that stuff. But what can Sheppard do this year? I'm believing that the shot is going to come around. He can be a secondary ball handler. I'm believing he's going to be active and energetic, and that's awesome. Where does he go in the rotation? I don't know. There's a lot of guys in front of him in the rotation. That's just not a knock on him. There's just a lot of interesting young guys in this team that are kind of there first. So it is what it is. Let's hope the jump shot comes around, because they're going to need it this year. Alex Sarr. See, this is the problem right here. You labeled him as a power forward. This dude is a center. Alex Sarr is here to play good quality defense. Can he really like create anything for himself right now? Nope. Nope, he can't create anything, and we knew that coming in, right? We knew it was going to be more of a project, but the Washington Wizards decided to start him and Valanciunas together, and he's just like he's just in the corner, just shooting threes, and he's actually hitting them. Like, he's hitting his threes, which is cool. That's great, right? They have since abandoned the Valanciunas in the starting lineup and moved Sarr just back to the center. That's definitely better. There's no way you should be playing both of those guys. There's just no shot, but Sarr's look good, especially in his like rotations and stuff. He's one of those guys that can be switched on to like a guard up top, and then somebody's backdooring and he rotates all the way down and go block the shot, right? Like, he's going up. His instincts are pretty solid. It's just, man, the Wizards are just such a cluster of nonsense right now. It's so hard to evaluate like where he's supposed to be on the court offensively, and like a lot of these pick and roll opportunities, like he seems to be getting to the right spots and they're hitting him for some passes and he's being athletic and throwing them down hard, and that's awesome. I don't know. I'd love to see some consistency on the offensive end, and I just don't feel like I can truly evaluate him otherwise. And then finally, Zaccharie Risacher. Yeah, I saw him play once in preseason, and he looked really, really good. There were definitely a couple times where he hesitated like a little bit in that game. It's first game flutters. It's not a big deal, but like we knew his instincts were there. Him and Sarr were two guys that I said, I'm like, they can start at an NBA level right away. Do I think they're going to be like all-stars one day? I mean, that's not how I'd project them. I was informed the other day that the statistic isn't that there's always a all-star. There's always 3 all-stars in every draft. So it's got to be someone, but Risacher looked good in his passing and everything. He was really good in transition. He flowed within the offense. He looked confident. He had a couple of moves to go to. He's hitting his threes. He's being an athlete, attacking the rim. Awesome. Like, I think he can be a high level, like a good like starter in the NBA right away and kind of do a bit of everything. And I think he could develop into a very solid player that's getting you 16, 17 points on a night. Does he play over DeAndre Hunter? I personally wouldn't. So here's a little coach's perspective for you. So I know he was the number 1 pick and everything. DeAndre Hunter's a really good player. Like, he's had really good NBA seasons. I think for the team to really buy into the fact that you were trying to win, which like you should do that with every team you're coaching, Risacher would have to look like a lot better. Like, it's obvious to everyone in the room that he's better than Hunter in order to start, and that's okay. I don't think he has to. Like, come off the bench, just be a really quality like spark plug for them off the bench. Go get a little bit of offense, get some shooting going, attack the rim, be a good athlete. Like, long term, I think he could be a nice player for them. But anyway, that's my evaluation of the rookies so far. Not trying to do any video that's like super long or anything. I'll probably hit you guys up with like a film video later this week for you guys to watch, and I'll kind of talk about that video and everything and the experiment with it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the rookies down below. As always, be kind to each other in the comments. Try and learn something from people, and go join the Discord. We're talking about stuff all the time. But anyway, looking forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks so much. Bye.